Chapter 2302. Jun Qingwu's energy isn't bad either. Yi Qingluo's lips curled up, her imposing manner didn't lose to hers. Jun Qingwu's eyes turned cold. With just a glance at Yi Qingluo, she sat directly on the seat that Teacher Yi was sitting on. His dignified appearance did not resemble that of a student at all. His every movement exuded a noble aura. Thinking back to last night, Jun Qingwu was able to break through the dark secret technique with a casual wave of her hand. In the blink of an eye, those black fog monsters were destroyed. Such a woman, did he still need to study in the class of gods? It could be said that it was because of Teacher Yi's attitude. Yi Qingluo could sense it. This woman's status had long surpassed that of the headmaster. Suddenly Yi Qingluo seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes lit up and her gaze was like a torch as she stared at Jun Qingwu. What is your relationship with Zhou Xian? Jun Qingwu slowly raised her eyes. Her gaze was as cold as 1,000-year frost. If this kind of gaze was placed on an ordinary person, they would probably be frozen to death under this frost. But Yi Qingluo didn't seem to notice it at all. She quickly sat down. Zhou Xian and the palace master of the Upper Xian Palace wanted me to find you. She used a declarative sentence, not a question. The woman who knew the location of the sacred beast pearl was Jun Qingwu. Jun Qingwu's personality was actually quite similar to Zhou Xian's. They were all cold and unfeeling. He would never take anything to heart. But last night in that kind of emergency, Jun Qingwu had saved her. If she wasn't someone Jun Qingwu knew, or someone who was useful to Jun Qingwu would never have helped her. Most importantly, she had covered herself with a loose black robe last night, which had changed her voice. Even if the devil class students were to stand in front of her, they might not be able to recognize her. However, Jun Qingwu had calmly revealed her identity. It was as if he was certain that she was a student of the class of gods. Moreover, Jun Qingwu had made it very clear that she had a motive for saving her. Which meant that right from the start Jun Qingwu knew that the person under the black robe was her, Yi Qingluo. Therefore, only then did Jun Qingwu lend a helping hand. The reason for Jun Qingwu's attack, it must be. Zhou Xian had mentioned it to her. Furthermore, the student who knew the whereabouts of the Saint Beast Orb that the palace master of the Upper Xian Hall had mentioned. It could only be Jun Qingwu. Jun Qingwu raised her brows, her icy cold beautiful eyes fixed on Yi Qingluo. You're very smart. In other words, Yi Qingluo's guess was right. I've always been curious as to what's so special about the woman that Di Zun fancied. Now I finally understand. Jun Qingwu stood up calmly. I promised Di Zun that I would protect you when he's not around. So, please don't cause too much trouble or I'll get annoyed. The woman's cold voice was devoid of any emotion. It was extremely cold. Yi Qingluo was slightly stunned. Zhou Xian asked Jun Qingwu to protect her? This was the reason why Jun Qingwu had saved her last night? However, why did Zhou Xian let such a beautiful and courageous woman to protect him? Isn't it enough for her to have Beiyuan as her secret guard? Wasn't Zhou Xian afraid that because she was jealous of Jun Qingwu's beauty and power, she would be willful and unreasonable? Yi Qingluo expressed. How could she let such a noble and mysterious existence protect her? She was under a lot of pressure. Although Yi Qingluo's expression didn't change much. But that pair of eyes was bursting with a myriad of changes. Chapter 2303. You smiled. Yi Qingluo's eyes sparkled as her brows revealed a smile. You look even prettier when you smile. The smile on Jun Qingwu's face froze. She pursed her lips and restrained the smile on her face. She turned her head and walked away in embarrassment. She must have been blinded by lard earlier to think that Yi Qingluo was cute. Especially when her mind was filled with so many things related to her. She tried her best to put on a calm look. Jun Qingwu pursed her lips even tighter as she clenched her fists and hastened her footsteps. Student Jun Qingwu. Yi Qingluo's voice was heard from behind. She paused but didn't turn back. You should have something else that you haven't told me. Yi Qingluo ran up to her. Jun Qingwu slowly turned back as her cold gaze met her eyes. This afternoon's training, win me and I will tell you. Saying that, she turned around and walked towards the direction of the class of gods. Yi Qingluo. Are you sure you're not teasing me? Jun Qingwu's ability was obviously not on the same level as those students in class of gods. Compared to Jun Qingwu, it was like, Class of Gods and Devil Class. But looking at Jun Qingwu's back view, Yiqing Luo's gaze gradually became determined. Challenging the strong had always been her interest. She wouldn't back down. Break time was up. The two classes returned to the team. Yiqing Luo looked at the empty space in the team. Long Yunzhan and Tong Ziqing didn't return. Si Minghan didn't return from Class of Gods either. It looked like the relationship between the three of them hadn't been resolved yet. The second round of training was guided by teacher Shenqing. Shenqing only glanced at the empty space indifferently before looking away. She didn't ask any questions. Teacher Shenqing was in charge of actual combat. His habit was to let the class of devils and the class of gods fight each other in the arena. Devil class was on one side. Class of gods was on the other side. The loser would return to the spectator seating while the winner would continue to stand on the arena. Until all the students in each class were defeated. The student who obtained the final victory would receive a bottle of essence chi pills specially made by the teacher. These 2 days the one standing on the arena had always been devil class's Long Yunzhan. Today the students in Class of Gods were in high spirits and filled with excitement. Because Jun Qingwu was back. The ones standing in the arena today would definitely not be students from the devil class. The Class of Gods could finally regain their dignity. The arrogance of the Class of Gods was clearly on the rise. A smile appeared on Shenqing's face. For the past 2 days, the Class of Gods had been tortured by the Class of Devils to the point that they were doubting their own lives. Now the students of the Class of Gods were finally invigorated. His gaze went back and forth between Jun Qingwu and Yiqing Luo. Today's special training would be more exciting than he had imagined. The training began. In the first group, both sides sent out their weaker students. This was because the more powerful the students were usually placed at the end. Otherwise, wouldn't it be easy for him to lose if he exhausted all his strength from the start? Enai Rupan's current strength had already reached the Earth Profound realm. Enai Rupan's performance was considered good regardless of whether it was her stamina or her consciousness. However, Enai Rupan still lost the first round due to the disparity between their profound ranks. The devil class substituted someone. After a few rounds, Qiao Jin went up and the gap between both parties widened. Devil class had the upper hand. When there were only 3 people left in the Class of Gods, the stronger students from the Class of Gods came up. On the side of devil class there were still 5 people left. Qiao Jin took a look at Yan Xiaoyi and saw her eager gaze. He exchanged 10 over moves with that student and admitted defeat. Chapter 2304. Around half an hour later, Yan Xiaoyi successfully defeated the students from Class of God. Shenqing looked towards the direction of the students from Class of God. Other than Jun Qingwu, there were still 2 people left. He was preparing to pick one of the students to accept the challenge. Only to see Jun Qingwu stand up. Her sea blue long dress fluttered in the wind. Facing the breeze, it made her look even more indifferent. She slowly walked to the front of Yan Xiaoyi, her icy cold gaze looked at her indifferently. "I'll do it." Yan Xiaoyi's pretty face stiffened. How could she not feel the powerful aura emitted from Jun Qingwu in front of her? It was so oppressive that she almost couldn't breathe. Yan Xiaoyi clenched her fists tightly. Qiao Jin worriedly said, "Xiaoyi, don't force yourself." She pursed her lips, her gaze fixed on Jun Qingwu without blinking. She wasn't resigned to admit defeat like this. "Student Jun Qingwu, please enlighten me." Yan Xiaoyi clenched her fists tightly as she fiercely attacked Jun Qingwu. Jun Qingwu didn't move at all. Until Yan Xiaoyi's attack came. The next moment, Jun Qingwu seemed to have melted into the air as she disappeared. Yan Xiaoyi's punch hit empty air. Yan Xiaoyi's face turned pale. Her perception totally couldn't detect Jun Qingwu's presence. This kind of situation, Yan Xiaoyi and Yiqing Luo had a similar match before. Yiqing Luo used her speed, making her unable to trace. In the end she lost the match with a dazed look. This student called Jun Qingwu. Not slower than Yiqing Luo's speed. Suddenly, Yan Xiaoyi heard the sound of wind beside her ear. She immediately turned to the right and did a side flip. Her footsteps had just stabilized, when she saw a ball of sea blue brilliance pressing towards her. She didn't dodge this attack at all. In her heart an unknown energy surged. The black sickle blade surged in her blood, trying to protect its own master. As the attack pressed down, Yan Xiaoyi's slender fingers gradually clenched tightly. The black sickle blade was about to break through her body. Just at this critical moment, a small palm but incomparably warm covered her shoulder. A young lady's gentle voice rang beside her ear, "Xiao Yi, next is my battlefield." All of a sudden the restlessness in his body vanished. Yan Xiaoyi's eyelashes fluttered and she blinked blankly. She met a pair of eyes that seemed to be decorated with stars. Qing Luo. Yan Xiaoyi opened her mouth. It was Yi Qing Luo who appeared by her side in time. Raising a hand, he steadily blocked the oncoming dark force. Yan Xiaoyi still had some lingering fear when she thought back to the strange state of her body. She said in a low voice, "Be careful." Then he retreated. As soon as they returned to the audience seating area, Qiao Jin pulled her into his embrace. "Xiaoyi, what happened to you just now?" Yan Xiaoyi shook her head. I don't know. Just now. Her body seemed to be inexplicably agitated. The black scythe blade seemed to be rushing out of his body. This was just a competition. The Xian energy that Jun Qingwu attacked did not contain any killing intent. At most she would suffer some superficial wounds. But in that instant, why was there such a strong and strange feeling? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? After the training ends, let's look for Ghost Doctor to take a look. Qiao Jin looked at Yan Xiaoyi's pale look as he hugged her tightly with a worried gaze. Yan Xiaoyi nodded. Let's see Qing Luo first. She suppressed the uneasiness in her heart and focused her attention on the training grounds. On the training grounds, Jun Qingwu and Yi Qing Luo stood face to face. Yi Qing Luo smiled as she looked at Jun Qingwu's cold face. "Student Jun Qingwu, if I didn't win you, would you not tell me?" Chapter 2305. The smile on Yi Qing Luo's lips grew brighter and her eyes were filled with excitement. Then, "Jun Qingwu, please show some mercy." Her words had just ended when Yi Qing Luo's figure had already dashed forward. Her entire body was shrouded in a layer of enchanting red glow. Thick, profound energy encircled her beast body, one round after another, as if it was a whirlpool that was about to attack. Streams of airflow turned into the shape of a tornado, rising from the soles of Yi Qing Luo's feet. For a moment, the entire training ground was eroded by the majestic, profound qi. The pupils of the students of the class of gods constricted. They stared at Yi Qing Luo in disbelief. Sky Mystic Overlord's profound energy. Heavenly Academy's lower class actually nurtured such a young Sky Mystic Overlord? No wonder. Yi Qing Luo had such a high status among this group of abnormal devil class students. Yi Qing Luo herself was a strong cultivator. These 2 days of battle training, Yi Qing Luo would usually defeat 1 or 2 students from the class of gods and would be replaced by Long Yunzhan. Unexpectedly, Yi Qing Luo's real strength was actually a strong cultivator. Sky Mystic first grade, not bad. Jun Qingwu's calm voice rang. Following that, her figure suddenly disappeared. Yi Qing Luo's attack fell into thin air. But, the next moment, Yi Qing Luo lifted her leg and kicked hard towards the right side. Bam! Her right leg knocked against Jun Qingwu's elbow and both of them retreated a few steps. Jun Qingwu raised her eyebrows as her red lips curled into a cold arc. "Your reaction is not bad." After Yi Qing Luo stabilized herself, she gathered her profound energy again and waved her palm upwards. "There are still many who are not bad. Jun Qingwu can slowly teach me. Let's wait and see." In Jun Qingwu's cold eyes, there was a trace of interest. She raised both her hands and profound qi surged as she met Yi Qing Luo's palm. Bam bam bam. The deafening profound qi bombarded the entire training ground. The flowing profound energy was scattered everywhere. The surrounding crowd was also affected by the profound energy. However, the two in battle had not noticed it at all. Shen Qing immediately called for the students to retreat from the training ground. A barrier was formed, separating the battlefield from the students. This battle caused Shen Qing's eyes to flicker with uncontrollable excitement. This young lady called Yi Qing Luo. It was indeed extraordinary. Even though he was only at the first level of the Sky Profound realm. But her strength, her skills and her fighting skills were all unmatched. It was something that even these old seniors were amazed by. Let's watch this match. It wasn't just the students who had the opportunity to learn. It was the same for him. It was their loss that old E and old Fatty did not come. The battle continued. Yi Qing Luo's gaze was sharp and the movements of her hands became increasingly swift. One set of palm technique after another was executed smoothly. He closed in on Jun Qinggu step by step without any intention of backing down. Jun Qinggu had obviously suppressed her Xian qi. Yiqing Luo could sense it. In his heart, a certain conjecture about Jun Qinggu gradually formed. Jun Qinggu narrowed her beautiful eyes and defended herself several times. Yiqing Luo was overbearing. Jun Qinggu's lips curled, and after noticing Yiqing Luo's action, her smile became even colder as her imposing manner rose sharply again. A burst of sea blue energy erupted from Jun Qinggu's body again. Chapter 2306. This attack was enough to defeat Yiqing Luo directly. However, just as they were holding their breaths in trepidation, they saw the young lady who was originally within Jun Qinggu's attack range suddenly turned around, and her feet swiftly stepped out in extremely strange footwork. Immediately following that red figure disappeared in the sea blue energy encirclement. This reaction, this footwork, it was simply amazing. The crowd couldn't help but applaud. Honestly, if it was them, they would absolutely not be able to react so quickly. Looking at Yiqing Luo, after escaping from Jun Qinggu's attack, she swiftly counterattacked. When the crowd saw Yiqing Luo's counterattack clearly, they were all stunned. They saw Yiqing Luo's entire body was glowing brightly. Her entire body was like an arrow leaving the bow, speedily getting close to Jun Qinggu. Immediately following that, both her hands flipped over and struck towards Jun Qinggu. Wasn't this the move that Jun Qinggu had used earlier? In just a short period of time, Yiqing Luo had perfectly replicated Jun Qinggu's move. Moreover, it had been improved. It was a profound energy blockade which left Jun Qinggu with no way to escape. Heavens! This Yiqing Luo was simply too terrifying. Just that one move and she had completely replicated the opponent's move. She even targeted the reason why she was able to avoid that move and made some changes. This kind of godly skill in the entire Nirvana realm, Yiqing Luo was probably the first. Jun Qinggu was obviously stunned by Yiqing Luo's counterattack. That pair of clear beautiful eyes slightly widened. Her eyes were filled with a glint of surprise. And coincidentally, Yiqing Luo's attack had already landed. Just as the crowd was marveling at Yiqing Luo's valiant ability and regretting that Jun Qinggu had lost the competition, they saw Yiqing Luo, who was originally standing at the original spot, suddenly changed her footwork, and she had already rushed to the front of Jun Qinggu. Just as that attack was about to land, her palm moved and a red feather fan suddenly opened up on her fingertips. Bam! The profound energy landed, and the glower flame fan in Yiqing Luo's hands shot out intense rays of light. The enchantment which was formed blocked the profound energy completely. The profound cheese ripples were flowing. The girl's red clothes fluttered in the wind. She was obviously petite, but she stubbornly stood in front of Jun Qinggu, protecting Jun Qinggu behind her. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? Earlier that attack, wasn't it Yiqing Luo herself who exploded out? How did she run over and block my attack? Jun Qinggu was also stunned. Her ice-cold beautiful eyes were a little dazed. She stared blankly at the extremely delicate shoulder in front of her, yet it was standing in front of her, blocking the profound energy in front of her. Her heart was violently shaken. He couldn't describe what it felt like. Are you stupid? Fortunately, this is just a competition. If it was a real battlefield, you could easily lose your life if you just stare blankly like that. The girl's reprimanding voice sounded in his ears. Jun Qinggu's long and dense eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings. Her eyes slowly returned back to Yiqing Luo's face. Looking at the girl's serious expression and tightly knitted eyebrows, Jun Qinggu's heart softened for no reason. She suddenly understood why this young lady was able to capture Dmo Xian's heart, and was able to make Zhu Wu Xian's heart move for her. This kind of lady. Chapter 2307. In the end, Yiqing Luo won this match. When the master announced the end of the training and gave everyone time to eat and rest, the training would continue in the evening. Jun Qinggu headed straight to the entrance of the training ground. Yiqing Luo quickly followed. Jun Qinggu's footsteps were slow, as if she was deliberately waiting for her. Yiqing Luo noticed this, and her lips curled into a faint smile. She followed behind Jun Qinggu. The two of them walked on the small path, one in front and one behind. Not knowing how long they had walked, Jun Qinggu frowned and turned to look at her. How much longer are you going to follow me? That depends on how much longer you want to walk. Yi Qingluo replied with a smile. Jun Qingwu frowned even tighter. I'm not walking anymore. You said that if I win you will tell me what I want to know. Yi Qingluo continued to reply with a smile. He could feel it. After the actual combat training, Jun Qingwu was no longer as cold towards her as before. The move of a hero saving a damsel in distress was useful at any time. Even if it was between the same gender, it was still useful. Moreover, she also felt that she had replicated Jun Qingwu's attack on the training ground and blocked it for her. That attack was really cool. He was a man. She was afraid that she would fall in love with her. It was no wonder that such a cold person like Jun Qingwu had changed towards her. After all, she was that handsome. Jun Qingwu fixed her gaze on her. Her eyes were icy cold. After a while, she walked to the other side of the small path. Yi Qingluo followed without saying a word. In the dark, Fatty Master and Master Yi walked out. They stared at Jun Qingwu and Yi Qingluo's back and heaved a sigh of relief. I thought that a mountain cannot accommodate two tigers and they would fight the moment they meet. Luckily. Fatty Master also wiped his sweat. The Overlord said that the strong will appreciate each other. I didn't expect that. They really became friends. It's good that they're friends. At least we don't have to think of ways to make our relationship better. Teacher E heaved a long sigh of relief and pulled Fatty Teacher towards their resting room. I really don't know if we're lucky or unlucky. The students this year are getting more and more abnormal, and even all the big shots are coming to the class of gods in groups. The fat teacher shook the fat on his face. To be honest, I have never seen so many big shots in the upper realm. Teacher E nodded his head empathically. I still hope that a month's time will pass quickly. This young lady is too good at stirring up trouble. Our students are not like those perverts in the devil class. They can handle the sudden changes in the situation. Yi Qingluo followed behind Jun Qingwu and arrived at Jun Qingwu's dormitory. She has a single room. The location of the room was good and it was extremely clean and tidy. An outer room and an inner bedroom. What made Yi Qingluo astonished was, from top to bottom the room seemed to have been replaced with new things. Like the tables and chairs in the outer room, the tea set. Like the little decorative items in the surrounding, and the luminous pearl by the door. These looked new no matter how she looked at it. This room shouldn't be a room that someone had stayed in for a long time. Chapter 2308. Yi Qingluo retracted her gaze and sat opposite Jun Qingwu. Then what can you reveal? Sacred Beast Pearl. Jun Qingwu spat out word by word. Yi Qingluo's smile froze slightly. Her back slowly straightened as her eyes fixed on Jun Qingwu. Where is the Sacred Beast Pearl? A long time ago the god race's deity emperor passed away and was buried in the void. The god race's deity emperor divided his remaining profound energy into 4 portions and hid it on the 4 sacred beasts under the god race, forming the Sacred Beast Pearl. Eastern Azure Dragon Pearl. Southern Vermilion Bird Pearl. Western White Tiger Pearl. Northern Black Tortoise Pearl. Jun Qingwu's voice was extremely cold. But the words that she spat out were extremely clear and seeped into one's eardrums. Sacred Beast Pearl. Is on the sacred beasts? Yi Qingluo recalled the 2 sacred beasts in her pet space. She seemed to have never heard Qi and Qian mention anything about the Sacred Beast Pearl on her. Not really. Jun Qingwu shook her head as she glanced at her indifferently. You grew up in 3 Springs sect, so you should know about the 4 great sects. Yi Qingluo was stunned. 4 great sects? Jun Qingwu said that the 4 sacred beasts were under the god race. And the 4 great sects were rumored to be the god race's guards, distributed in the 4 corners of Nirvana realm, guarding the god race's deity emperor's tomb. Jun Qingwu mentioned this point at this moment. Could it be that the Sacred Beast Pearl wasn't on the sacred beasts, but in the 4 great sects? He guessed correctly. As though she could read Yi Qingluo's thoughts, Jun Qingwu spoke calmly. The Sacred Beast Pearl is guarded by every sect patriarch. Their ancestral teachings were passed down to prevent the 4 Sacred Beast Pearls from being gathered one day. Why? Yi Qingluo's eyelashes trembled slightly when she heard that. Why, did the sect patriarchs want to prevent the 4 Sacred Beast Pearls from being gathered? Didn't the Lord of Profound Palace say this Sacred Beast Pearl was a shortcut to the upper realm? Suddenly Yi Qingluo recalled what Jun Qingwu said earlier. Before the Divine Emperor passed away, He divided his remaining dark force into 4 parts and injected it into the 4 divine beasts. That was how the divine emperor came to be. If he gathered all 4 sacred beasts' pearls, could it be that the remaining power of the divine emperor would also fuse with it? More accurately speaking, would the appearance of this power cause countless people to go crazy in pursuit of this power? The upper mystic hall master was lying to her? Indeed, as you have guessed, once the 4 sacred beast pearls are gathered and the god race blood is used to break the seal, the power and the sacred beast pearls will become the power of the person who breaks the seal. Jun Qingwu's eyes did not waver at all. There was not the slightest fluctuation in his tone. But the content of her words was shocking. Of course, the 4 sacred beast pearls can indeed open any entrance to the upper realm. However, once the entrance is opened, it is necessary to release the remaining divine emperor's Xian energy. Jun Qingwu suddenly lowered her voice, causing the atmosphere and mood to become extremely cold at this moment. This power will spread throughout the Nirvana realm and the upper 3 realms. Yiqing Luo's heart trembled violently. Her face was a little pale. That was to say, once the power of the 4 sacred beast pearls was used to open the passageway, which was to tell everyone, someone had inherited the remaining divine emperor's Xian energy from the 4 sacred beast pearls. Even though that person might not be Yiqing Luo. Once this matter was known by others, even if Yiqing Luo went to the upper 3 realms, she would still be chased after. Chapter 2309. Then, is there any other way for me to go to the upper realm? Yiqing Luo clenched her fists. Her heart was filled with complicated feelings. She didn't understand why the Lord of the Upper Profound Palace would hide such an important matter. Or, the Lord of the Upper Profound Palace wanted to make use of her to get the 4 sacred beasts' beads? But, the Lord of the Upper Profound Palace asked her to look for Jun Qingwu in the class of gods. However, Jun Qingwu had clearly told her the truth. The Lord of the Upper Profound Palace didn't expect that Jun Qingwu, who was also Dmo Xian's friend, would tell her the hidden power behind the 4 sacred beasts' beads. Or, was there another conspiracy? Yiqing Luo expressed that her brain was not enough to use. Your profound grade is not enough to ascend to the upper realm. Jun Qingwu narrowed her beautiful eyes. If you want to go to the upper realm, cultivate for a few more years. A few years. Although she also wanted to stay in the Nirvana realm. She wanted to accompany her brothers. But if she stayed in the Nirvana realm, her strength would never be able to improve. The general strength in the Nirvana realm was a little weak for her now. It completely couldn't stimulate her to advance or break through. If she wanted to become stronger, she had to go to a higher place and accept a stronger opponent. Otherwise, what could she use to protect the things she wanted to protect? What could she use to find out her own origin? There's another way. Jun Qingwu looked at Yiqing Luo's depressed look, pursed her lips and said calmly, "What?" Yiqing Luo's eyes lit up. Gather the 4 sacred beasts' beads and open the passage. Looking at Jun Qingwu's red lips opened and closed, spitting out such a sentence. Yiqing Luo lowered her eyes. I don't intend to do risky things. This didn't mean that she was afraid of danger and didn't dare to fight to the death with those who wanted to snatch the 4 sacred beasts' beads. But there was no need to deal with such a situation. She cherished her life. She had a bunch of brothers who cared about her. She had a lover whom she cared about. She cherished her life very much. She wouldn't easily take her life as a joke. More importantly, she not only had the Azure Dew Bracelet Divine Phoenix Profound Jade, but also a map that even Dmo Xian cared about. If she attracted the attention of those people from the upper realm, it would be very easy to expose these secrets that she was hiding. She couldn't risk it. Let me finish. Jun Qingwu rolled her eyes at her coldly. Yiqing Luo, who was rolled her eyes. Why did she feel that Jun Qingwu was very cute when she was being rolled her eyes? Finally, he wasn't expressionless anymore. Jun Qingwu regained her expressionless face. You formed a contract with the 4 great sacred beasts and used a drop of the sacred beast's blood to form a contract with the 4 sacred beast pearls as your lifeline. Contract? The 4 great saint beasts? Yiqing Luo was slightly stunned. Then, what will happen after contracting the 4 sacred beasts' beads? The remaining power of the divine emperor in the sacred beast pearl will be sealed in the sacred beast pearl. Jun Qingwu answered calmly. It was as if the power inside the sacred beast pearl was just ordinary power. Sealed? After sealing it, I can open the passage to the upper realm? Also, it won't attract other people's attention? This method seemed to be quite good. Jun Qingwu squinted her beautiful eyes. But contracting the sacred beasts isn't an easy task. The 4 great saint beasts were once the guardian sacred beasts of the god race. Deep in their bones, there is a noble bloodline and they will not easily lower their heads to humans. Yiqing Luo was very clear about this point. Other than Chi-Chi being adorable. Chapter 23:10. Also, Jun Qingwu paused for a moment. A trace of coldness and seriousness appeared on her beautiful face. Once you contract the 4 sacred beast pearls, the sacred beast pearls will become your lifeline just like the 4 great sacred beasts. If others find out that you have the sacred beast pearl on you and snatch it away, wanting to absorb the remaining profound energy in the sacred beast pearl. Jun Qingwu's voice became deeper and deeper, revealing a strong sense of warning. Once the remaining profound energy within the sacred beast orb disappears, you will turn into ashes together with the sacred beast orb, and the 4 great sacred beasts that you have contracted will once again turn into sacred beast stone statues, and lose their source of life. Yiqing Luo's pupils dilated little by little. In other words, she only had 2 choices now. Or he could spend a few years to cultivate to the minimum standard of being able to ascend to the upper realm and ascend to the upper realm. Although this method was time-consuming, it was safe. Or he could contract the sacred beast bead. This method was too dangerous. You still have a long time to think about it. Jun Qingwu knocked on the table. The rhythmic sounds brought Yiqing Luo back to her senses. I'm not asking you to make a decision right now. After all, you might not necessarily be able to form a contract with the 4 great divine beasts, right? Jun Qingwu's clear voice was like a murmuring brook, slowly pacifying the restlessness in Yiqing Luo's heart. Yiqing Luo's heart calmed down a little. Besides, the sacred beast pearl is in the hands of the sect leaders of the 4 major sects. Are you sure you can get it easily? Jun Qingwu rolled her eyes at her again as if laughing at her thinking too much. Yiqing Luo expressed that what Jun Qingwu said was very reasonable and she actually couldn't refute it. So, wait until you get the sacred beast bead and contract a sacred beast, then you can slowly think about this problem. When Jun Qingwu said this, her eyes flashed with a hint of slyness. Yiqing Luo. If she really got the sacred beast pearl and contracted 4 sacred beasts, she wouldn't need to be so conflicted, all right. It was a contract. Why did she have the guts? Did he feel like he had been tricked by Jun Qingwu? While she was thinking, Jun Qingwu had already stood up and looked at her coldly. No problem. You can scram now. Did Yiqing Luo need to be so cool? However, there were no other problems. She came to find Jun Qingwu to ask about the sacred beast pearl. He looked at the time. There was still an hour left before the break. She had to eat something first to replenish her strength before heading to the training ground to gather. Immediately, Yiqing Luo stood up. Then I'll go first. As she spoke, she walked out of the house. Just as he stepped out of the house, Yiqing Luo's words paused at the side of her mouth. At this moment, Jun Qingwu turned around and headed towards the inner room. The gauze curtain at the entrance of the inner chamber fluttered, making Jun Qingwu's silhouette appear somewhat indistinct. In his mind, a figure overlapped with Jun Qingwu's figure. Yiqing Luo's eyes widened as she rushed into the room and grabbed Jun Qingwu's wrist. It's you. It's you. Jun Qingwu frowned. What's wrong with you? It was you who sealed my voice. Yiqing Luo's eyes were burning as she stared into Jun Qingwu's eyes. Don't try to deny it, my memory is not wrong. That day it was the dark forces who allied with other forces trying to invade the West continent. Godless Island's young island Master Island Yigon was also involved. Later on, they made use of the poison in Yan Xiaoyi's body as a bargaining chip to threaten her to release that Earth Realm old man as well as Lord Yu. She was just about to compromise. But she discovered that her voice was sealed. Chapter 23:11. Earlier, through those gauze curtains, that blurry figure. She immediately thought of the figure that had flashed by in the crowd. It was her. Jun Qingwu lowered her eyes and coldly swept a glance at the hand which was hugging her wrist and replied calmly, "That's right, it's me." What? Yiqing Luo frowned. Don't tell me you really want to compromise with Yigon? Jun Qingwu sneered. Yiqing Luo's thoughts were exposed. I knew the Overlord would come. Jun Qingwu's next sentence made Yiqing Luo speechless again. Which meant Jun Qingwu knew Zhou Xian would rush over. That was why they sealed her voice when she agreed to release the netherworld and the old man from the earth realm. It was so that she wouldn't compromise. Wait till Xian arrived? Yiqing Luo couldn't refute this explanation. But she still had some doubts. Then why did you escape in a hurry after sealing my voice? You don't know me and I don't want to know you. If I stay and get surrounded by your men it would be too troublesome. Jun Qingwu replied as though it was a matter of course. Yiqing Luo. Alright, what she said made sense. If it was her she would also choose to leave. When her voice was sealed, Xian rushed over and not long after she was able to speak again. She could roughly feel it. The person who sealed her voice didn't have any ill intentions. Yiqing Luo slowly released Jun Qingwu's wrist and smiled. I'll believe your explanation, I'll return to the training ground first. Saying that she left Jun Qingwu's room. When the door behind her closed, the smile on Yiqing Luo's face faded. She quickly left the small path of the dormitory and headed towards the training ground. Perhaps everyone was eating and resting, there was no one else on the small path. Yiqing Luo looked around and released her perception as she called out in a deep voice. Bei Yuan, are you there? The wind blew and the grass swayed. A slight breath slowly floated over. Following that, she saw a slender and charming figure appearing in front of her. The lady's long sleeves were like smoke and the light muslin fluttered. She was dressed in a plain white dress which made her look like a fairy. Her face was gentle, exquisite and beautiful. Between her brows, she was graceful and charming. No matter how he looked at her, she did not look like a dark guard. Ordinary dark team guards were all dressed in black and wrapped themselves up as if they were afraid that others wouldn't know that they were dark team guards. Only Xianxia's secret guards would dare to be so daring. Yiqing Luo knew the reason why Tang Beiyuan had always maintained such a dignified and beautiful appearance. She had heard it from Xian. Tang Beiyuan's fiancé, the man named Langli Xian, would also be transferred over. However, Tang Beiyuan was able to wear beautiful clothes when she was hiding without anyone noticing her presence. This was enough to prove her strength. Mistress. Tang Beiyuan bowed respectfully. Beiyuan, let me ask you, that Jun Qingwu, is she good friends with your overlord? Yiqing Luo lowered her voice and asked softly. Tang Beiyuan shook her head. I've always been in charge of internal affairs in the Imperial Palace. I've never been around to protect His Majesty. If Di Zun's friend hasn't been to the Imperial Palace I wouldn't know him. All right. Even Xian's secret guards did not know about it. It looked like they could only wait for Xian to return before they could ascertain Jun Qingwu's identity. Chapter 23:12. The Aura of the Upper Realm. Yiqing Luo was stunned. There was a strange expression on her face. Jun Qingwu's appearance was too strange. Jun Qingwu was definitely not just a student of the class of gods. No. To be more precise, she was suspecting that Jun Qingwu was not a student of the class of gods. But to get close to her she came to the class of gods. Linking the aura that Tang Beiyuan sensed coupled with her guess if all these were true. The teachers were acting strangely towards Jun Qingwu and her incompatibility in the class of gods, and this room which did not look like a dormitory at all. Everything could be explained clearly. Currently the only thing she could be sure of was that Jun Qingwu did not have any ill intentions towards her. Perhaps it was as what Jun Qingwu said. Xian had specially instructed her to stay by her side and protect her. Yiqing Luo lowered her eyelashes and nodded. I understand. If you have a way to pass the news to Xian, please ask him about this matter. Tang Beiyuan looked troubled. If the Overlord was in the Nirvana realm, I would be able to pass the news to the Overlord as soon as possible. But the Overlord is heading to the Upper Realm. The Upper Realm and Nirvana realm were very far apart. And it was totally not the same realm. This news would not reach Xian no matter what. Yiqing Luo sighed softly. Her slender fingers touched the profound phoenix ring which was suffused with a red glow. She tried to ask Tang Beiyuan because the profound phoenix ring could not sense Xian's profound dragon ring. It looked like the difference between the realms. Even divine weapons could not penetrate it. Forget it. After the final training session at night was over, she would go into the Azure Dew bracelet and ask Old Man Song. She would see how much of what Jun Qingwu had said just now was true and how much was false. Just as she was about to ask Tang Beiyuan to leave, Tang Bian's expression changed as she whispered, Mistress, someone is coming. Then she hurriedly disappeared into the air. The next moment he saw a group of people running toward him in twos and threes. 2 students from the class of gods. And 2 students from the devil class. The moment Kitty Lee saw Yiqing Luo, her eyes lit up. Meow. It opened its arms and pounced towards Yiqing Luo. Following closely behind, an Iroa Pan panicked and said, "Qing Luo, something happened. Class monitor and student C from the class of gods are fighting." Yiqing Luo's hand, which was rubbing Kitty Lee's head, paused. "What's the matter?" The 3 of them did not participate in the training just now. Why did they suddenly start fighting for no reason? I don't know either. They were fighting very fiercely. The class monitor seemed to want to kill student C. We couldn't stop him at all. Xiaoyi told me to find you. Only you can stop the class monitor. Anai Rupan's eyes were red as she quickly explained the situation. Yiqing Luo glanced at the 2 unhappy students from the class of God. Her eyes dimmed. Bring me there. Actual combat training forest. Not long after they entered the forest, they heard the sound of profound energy and weapons colliding in front of them. The shouts of the students were also mixed in. Yiqing Luo's brows creased tightly as she hurried to catch up. He saw Long Yunzhan and Si Minghan fighting intensely, as if the other party was their father's murderer. The 3 masters rushed up to stop them but were forced back by the 2 of them. Obviously they would not stop until one of them was dead. Long Yunzhan held the blue long sword in his hand as his profound energy surged, wave after wave. The long sword seemed to be covered with a layer of scales, shining with a strange luster. Chapter 23:13. Yiqing Luo's brows creased tightly as her gaze was fixated on the long sword in Long Yunzhan's hand. Had he really gone mad? In order to kill Si Minghan, he didn't even intend to conceal his identity as a human dragon? He actually covered his own dragon scale on the sword. Long Yunzhan. The young lady cried out sharply as her gaze was burning as she stared at the man who was still in battle. The man whose name was called turned slightly stiff. The hand which was holding the long sword tightened. Everyone turned to look at Zhou Xian. Qing Luo. Tong Ziqing saw Yiqing Luo coming and immediately ran in front of her. She was usually cold and elegant, but at this moment she was crying her eyes out. Tong Ziqing hugged Yiqing Luo's arm. Qing Luo, quickly stop class monitor. He seems to have gone mad. Totally doesn't listen to me. Tong Ziqing was sobbing as she couldn't speak clearly. Yiqing Luo patted the back of her hand lightly. On the other side, the battle which had stopped momentarily continued. Long Yunzhan suddenly roared as the blue long sword in his hand was raised up high above his head. A burst of blue profound glow was released from his body. Indistinctly, that blue long sword revealed an indistinct dragon shape. Yiqing Luo's heart trembled fiercely. Long Yunzhan, he really intended to expose his identity as a human dragon? Did he really intend to kill Si Minghan? This move, if it really hit Si Minghan would absolutely not be able to survive. Lass. In her mind, old man Song's voice suddenly rang. Young lad Long's eyes are not right. Yiqing Luo immediately looked at Long Yunzhan's eyes. That pair of azure blue eyes were filled with waves after waves of turbulent waves. And around that eye socket, obviously, a wisp of black qi lingered around it. Profound yin qi. It was profound yin qi again. Dark forces profound yin qi. Looking at the long sword in Long Yunzhan's hand, the dragon shape was about to take shape. Yiqing Luo flew up and her fair slender palm clasped onto Long Yunzhan's hand which was holding the long sword. The bewitching red glow instantly blended with the blue light. Long Yunzhan's body started to stiffen. His raised arm could not be swung down. Yiqing Luo took the opportunity to look at Si Minghan and said sternly, "Leave this place quickly. He's been controlled by a secret technique." Si Minghan was originally thinking of ways to form a barrier to block Long Yunzhan's attack. Suddenly, a red light flashed before his eyes. Immediately after, he heard the girl's unquestionable shout. Almost instinctively, Si Minghan's figure quickly disappeared into the forest. However, Long Yunzhan did not return to normal because of Si Minghan's disappearance. His body was still extremely tense. That handsome and aloof face was twisted in an extremely terrifying manner. At such a close distance, the strand of black mysterious yin qi under the azure eyes was extremely horrifying. Zhan. Yiqing Luo opened her mouth, calling Long Yunzhan's name. Long Yunzhan's body stiffened again, his eyelashes trembling slightly. But the madness in his eyes was still unbridled. He began to struggle. Yiqing Luo's grip tightened. He forcefully used his dark force to suppress Long Yunzhan's pressure. The dragon-shaped light pattern around the long sword also gradually dimmed. "Zhan, I know you can hear me." Yiqing Luo's voice was cold and filled with a penetrating feeling. "You don't want to hurt me, don't want to hurt any one of us, then listen to me." Long Yunzhan was still struggling. Chapter 23:14. The blue long sword was gleaming wantonly. It was still struggling against Yiqing Luo's profound energy. "Relax your body and mind, leave everything to me." Yiqing Luo's hand was trembling because of Long Yunzhan's struggle. Long Yunzhan's strength was huge. So huge that she couldn't hold Long Yunzhan's hand. Yiqing Luo was very clear. Once she let go of Long Yunzhan's hand, that long sword in Long Yunzhan's hand would become a killing weapon. She couldn't let Long Yunzhan do something that he regretted the last time. Otherwise it would happen again. Long Yunzhan's heart would definitely collapse. "Scram, get lost." A hoarse voice came out from Long Yunzhan's throat. A strong vicious qi filled Yiqing Luo's body and mind. Yiqing Luo's hand trembled even more violently because of Long Yunzhan's struggle. Yiqing Luo couldn't bear to hurt Long Yunzhan, so she didn't dare to use her profound energy to suppress it. However, Long Yunzhan had totally lost his rationality. He didn't have the slightest bit of pity. The stronger the strength, the heavier the vicious qi. His azure blue eyes were slowly covered by a black mist. Yiqing Luo couldn't hold Long Yunzhan's hand anymore. Her breathing was slightly messed up. She was just about to take a deep breath, thinking of a way to knock Long Yunzhan out. Suddenly, an intense scorching feeling gushed out from her heart. As though a raging fire was burning in her heart. This scorching feeling made Yiqing Luo's hand loosen a little. Long Yunzhan took the opportunity to backhand and patted Yiqing Luo's shoulder, breaking free. "Class monitor." Qing Luo. Devil class's students behind her hurriedly called out. Yiqing Luo staggered backwards a few steps as her slender brows creased as she looked at her painful shoulder. Following that, her gaze shifted towards Long Yunzhan, who was standing at the original spot with a vicious look in his eyes. This gaze made Yiqing Luo's heart feel scorching as it corroded her internal organs. Her gaze was fixed on Long Yunzhan's chest. Yiqing Luo's pupils suddenly contracted. She hadn't had the time to investigate in detail if she had seen wrongly. The next moment, Long Yunzhan's explosive roar resounded. Ah! The roars were endless. Profound light flickered and profound energy surged. Long Yunzhan's expression became extremely sinister. Then he swung his sword horizontally. A ray of blue-colored profound energy slashed open a piercingly cold profound mark in the air, like circles and circles of ripples. Yiqing Luo's attention had already been attracted by the direction of Long Yunzhan's heart. The more she wanted to investigate, the more she wanted to know. His profound jade heart emitted more and more scorching heat. It was as if her entire heart was placed on a raging fire, roasting it back and forth. There was no time to dodge. "Long Yunzhan, stop!" From the direction of the devil class came a girl's cry. A tall and slender figure rushed over from afar. She rushed over to Long Yunzhan, stretched out her arms, wrapped them around his waist and buried her face in his chest. "Long Yunzhan, wake up. I beg you, wake up." The woman wept softly, her voice filled with helplessness and longing. "This kind of you, I'm afraid. I don't like this kind of you." "Long Yunzhan, change back. Change back, all right." The surrounding vicious qi and the rumbling profound qi at this moment returned to tranquility. The frenzied man froze on the spot. He allowed the lady in his arms to hug him, crying out his name. Chapter 23:15. However, when the woman raised her head, what she saw was a pair of eyes filled with black qi. The lady's pupils constricted as she couldn't help but let out a shrill scream. "Ziqing, be careful." Yiqing Luo noticed Long Yunzhan's change and immediately opened her mouth, wanting to pull Tong Ziqing back. The current Long Yunzhan was an unstable factor. He had no rationality. Even if it was Tong Ziqing, he wouldn't remember. Tong Ziqing couldn't take one attack from Long Yunzhan. But just as she was about to charge over, Long Yunzhan's profound energy, which had been stabilized for some time, started to roll over like waves of ripples. Bam! A heaven-shattering loud sound was heard. The profound qi struck the side of Yiqing Luo's feet, blocking her path. Long Yunzhan raised one hand as his 5 fingers locked onto the lady's shoulder. His slender fingers dived into the lady's skin one by one. Under the whistling strong wind, one could clearly hear the sound of bones breaking from Tong Ziqing's side. But Tong Ziqing had no intention to leave. She hugged Long Yunzhan tightly as the intense pain from her bones breaking only made her complexion paler by a few shades. Her teary eyes looked foolishly at Long Yunzhan's face, which was just inches away from her. Her lips curled slightly as her voice trembled slightly. Long Yunzhan, I said this before. No matter how you reject me, push me away, I will pester you. Until I die, I will pester you. Get lost. The hoarse voice was filled with rage. Long Yunzhan's 5 fingers exerted even more strength. Tong Ziqing was in so much pain that she broke out in cold sweat, but she refused to let go of Long Yunzhan. Kicking. Move aside first, perhaps I know. Yiqing Luo was just about to say that she might have seen through the reason why Long Yunzhan became like this. Suddenly, Long Yunzhan, who heard her voice, turned his gaze towards her without blinking. That pupils which were filled with profound yin qi were emitting a strange and charming aura. He raised his other sword-wielding hand, and the blue profound light suddenly turned into a huge blue flying dragon. Setting off a raging wave, it slashed towards Yiqing Luo's direction. Long Yunzhan, wake up. If you hurt her, you will regret it for life. Tong Ziqing's heart almost stopped beating when she saw Long Yunzhan's actions. Last time Long Yunzhan was controlled by the dark forces and almost hurt Yiqing Luo. Later Yan Shaoyi helped Yiqing Luo to block that move. However, it was enough to make Long Yunzhan feel so guilty that he almost wanted to give up and hide from them. If Long Yunzhan. Long Yunzhan. Without thinking Yiqing of Long. Tong Ziqing didn't even think as she gathered a burst of profound energy in her palm and held onto Long Yunzhan's wrist. How of her strength could be compared to Yun Long? In the next instant her hand was pulled away. In a moment of desperation, Tong Ziqing grabbed Long Yunzhan's longsword with one hand. Yun Long of Yun. Long Yunzhan's violent attack seemed to have been paused as he was stunned on the spot. Luo of Dong Long. Qing. Yun Zt. To say I. Of. Her beautiful eyes stared at Long Yunzhan as her heart trembled. Long Yunzhan, don't go on like this. Turn back into the Long Yunzhan that I like. Oi, Yun eyes. Fell. Long Yunzhan's hand, which was holding the sword. Warm blood covered Long Yunzhan's hand. Long Yunzhan seemed to have sensed something. He turned his head stiffly and looked at his hand, which was stained with blood. He looked at Tong Ziqing, who was still holding the sword tightly, as though she wasn't afraid that the sharp blade would cut off her fingers. Chapter 23:16. Tong Ziqing furrowed her brows and threw her sword to the side in pain. The black energy in Long Yunzhan's eyes was still sweeping wildly. He stared blankly at Tong Ziqing's blood-soaked palm. He stared blankly at his blood-soaked hands. Little by little his face became distorted. Long Yunzhan. Tong Ziqing sensed Long Yunzhan's abnormality and anxiously called out his name. However, Long Yunzhan suddenly raised his hand and pushed her away forcefully. Tong Ziqing was dizzy from losing too much blood, and her physical strength could no longer hold on. With such a push, his whole body swayed and fell to the ground. She couldn't care less about the pain. She wanted to get up and return to Long Yunzhan's side. Long Yunzhan hugged his head and screamed in pain. Ah! The screams were filled with immense pain, as if they were experiencing great torture. Long Yunzhan. Hearing the screams, Tong Ziqing was on the verge of tears. Long Yunzhan was in pain, but her heart was in even more pain. She stood up with great difficulty, and a wave of dizziness made her vision blurry. She stumbled towards Long Yunzhan. Don't come over. Long Yunzhan's hoarse voice suddenly rose. Leave me. I don't know what I'll do. Let's go. Hurry up and leave. Tong Ziqing stopped in her tracks. She tightened her grip. His palm, which had been cut by the blade, felt a stinging pain. Her consciousness cleared up a little. She moved her lips and her throat was a little dry. Long Yunzhan, I won't leave you, never. Go. Long Yunzhan roared, causing his head to feel a strong piercing pain again. He let out another painful scream, clutched his head and fell to the ground. Long Yunzhan. Tong Ziqing's throat tightened. She took a deep breath and steadied her consciousness. She tried her best to move closer to Long Yunzhan. Behind her, Yiqing Luo's cold voice was heard. Ziqing, don't go over. Tong Ziqing was taken aback. There was a trace of bitterness in her beautiful eyes. Qing Luo. Save him. Only you can save him. Tong Ziqing finally gave up and walked up as she spoke in a hoarse voice, begging Yiqing Luo. It's not me. Yiqing Luo shook her head as she looked at Tong Ziqing's eyes, which were filled with pain, as she sighed softly. It's you who awakened him. If you were to get any closer, I'm afraid it would agitate. Before he could finish, a dong sound was heard. Tong Ziqing subconsciously turned her head and looked behind her. Long Yunzhan fell to the ground with his eyes closed. Even though he had fainted, his brows were still tightly knitted together. Long Yunzhan. Tong Ziqing's heart skipped a beat. She raised her foot and rushed towards Long Yunzhan. A strong dizziness drained all the strength from her body. In the next instant, Tong Ziqing's vision went black and she collapsed. Tong Ziqing only woke up the next morning. As soon as she woke up, she looked around and shouted Long Yunzhan's name nervously. Hearing the commotion, Yiqing Luo pushed the door and entered. Qing Luo, class monitor. How is he? Tong Ziqing looked at Yiqing Luo worriedly. He's fine. Ghost doctor and the 3 masters are taking care of him. Yiqing Luo walked to the bedside and bent down to lift Tong Ziqing's bandaged hand. You're really daring. If Zhou really couldn't control himself and cut off your finger when Zhou regains consciousness, how guilty would he feel? Chapter 23:17. Yiqing Luo let go of her hand and frowned slightly. Do you think he won't feel guilty for doing this? Won't he regret it for the rest of his life? In his heart, I'm not as important as you. Tong Ziqing's lashes were wet. It's better for me to get hurt than you. Yiqing Luo's brows creased even tighter. In that case, you blocked the sword with your bare hands because you feel that I'm more important than you in Zhou's heart? No. Tong Ziqing immediately raised her head as her face was filled with panic. I don't mean it in that way, Qing Luo. It's not just for class monitor. I don't want you to get hurt. She stuttered as she explained. The lady who wasn't good with words, usually cold and elegant, had already removed her mask at this moment. Yiqing Luo looked at her and her heart softened a little. Ziqing, no matter if it's Zhou or you, you're both my most important brothers. If any one of you gets hurt because of me, I will regret it. She paused as she stretched out her hand and placed it on Tong Ziqing's head. Her voice became gentler. In future, don't do such silly things again. Tong Ziqing's beautiful eyes widened as she looked at Yiqing Luo in a daze for some time before she slowly nodded her head. I know. Now tell me the reason why Zhou and Ximing Han fought. Yiqing Luo sat beside Tong Ziqing as she sat on the bed. Asking about this matter, Tong Ziqing's cheeks suddenly flushed red. Yiqing Luo raised her brows. Could it be because of love? Oh, it's not. Tong Ziqing immediately denied as her beautiful eyes fluttered unnaturally. Class monitor, why would he? Because of me. Zhou's situation is slightly complicated. You have to tell me the details of their fight so that I can analyze how exactly he was implanted with the profound yin qi. Yiqing Luo rubbed Tong Ziqing's head. In terms of age, Tong Ziqing was actually older than her by a year. But Yiqing Luo's mental age was too old. Yiqing Luo's consolation also made Tong Ziqing's restless heart gradually calm down after she heard about Long Yunzhan's complicated condition. I wanted to be alone. So I went to the actual combat training forest. Previously at the training ground, Yiqing Luo's words made it hard for her to calm down. She had always been wondering if loving Long Yunzhan so stubbornly was the right choice. Later on, Ximing Han caught up. She, who had loved Ximing Han deeply, could naturally see his feelings for her. At least for now, Ximing Han really liked her. However, her heart had fallen onto Long Yunzhan and could not be retrieved. She trapped herself in Long Yunzhan's cage and was unwilling to come out. But Ximing Han said that he was willing to wait. He and she were the same kind of people. They all had their own stubbornness. For Long Yunzhan, Tong Ziqing had loved him for so many years, waited for so many years and guarded him for so many years. Ximing Han had loved Tong Ziqing for so many years, waited for so many years and guarded her for so many years. It was undeniable that her heart had been shaken by Ximing's words at that time. They had been in love for too long. They had been one-sided for too long. Tong Ziqing had almost forgotten. What does it feel like to be loved? Si Minghan could give her the feeling of being loved. Si Minghan could love her like how she loved Long Yunzhan. Chapter 23:18. Such a thought flashed through her mind. Tong Ziqing quickly put it out of her mind. Because she wanted to be loved, she chose someone who loved her. Perhaps this was the best choice for many women. However, her obsession with Long Yunzhan was so deep that it could not be cut. She had Long Yunzhan in her heart. What right did she have to be loved by Si Minghan? He was not happy in love. Why did she have to ruin Si Minghan's life? Just as she was about to refuse, Long Yunzhan came. The first time she saw Long Yunzhan, Tong Ziqing was happy. Long Yunzhan chased after her, which meant that he was worried about her and that she was in his heart. However, Long Yunzhan's eyes slowly moved away when he saw Si Minghan holding her hand. He said, "I'm sorry to disturb you." After that he turned around and left. Tong Ziqing was stunned on the spot. His heart was filled with joy, but it was as if the water of December had been poured over him. Si Minghan held her hand tightly and swore loudly, "Ziqing, if you are willing to give me a chance, give us a chance, I will definitely make you the happiest woman." Tong Ziqing was stunned. She could hear Si Minghan's words. She could also hear the footsteps that stopped behind her. The words of refusal stopped at the tip of her tongue. She wanted to know how Long Yunzhan would react. She wanted to know if Long Yunzhan would be a little jealous. As long as, just a little, she would be like a moth flying into a flame without hesitation. However, the person behind her only paused for a moment. Then he walked away again. He didn't even say a word or make a sound. It was as if she would be with another man. It had nothing to do with him. Her heart sank little by little. Perhaps the pain that Long Yunzhan gave her was unbearable. Or Si Minghan's smile was too bright. Tong Ziqing raised her head and looked at Si Minghan. She said word by word, "I agree to give you a chance." Si Minghan's eyes suddenly lit up. He was ecstatic and wanted to hug Tong Ziqing. Bang! A fist came crashing down. Si Minghan was caught off guard and was sent flying. Long Yunzhan stood majestically in front of Tong Ziqing. Tong Ziqing stared blankly at the tall figure in front of her, and her eyes reddened. She carefully placed her hand on Long Yunzhan's back and was about to speak. Long Yunzhan's arm pushed backwards. He did not look back. His hand was stuck on her neck. It was an emotionless push. From Long Yunzhan's cold and furious roar echoed in his ears. Tong Ziqing's eyes widened in disbelief as her body swayed and fell to the ground. Long Yunzhan had already taken out his long sword and attacked Si Minghan. Then it was a battle of life and death until now. After listening to Tong Ziqing's recollection of the scenario, Yiqing Luo's brows creased into a bundle. "Didn't you agree to Si Minghan's request because you heard that he had left? Why did Zhan appear before you the next instant? Are you sure his footsteps are leaving or walking towards you?" Yiqing Luo asked solemnly. Tong Ziqing blinked her eyes blankly. "I don't know." When he didn't respond, my mind went blank. Chapter 23:19. What problem? Tong Ziqing's heart tightened as she pursed her pale lips, her eyes filled with worry. "Qing Luo, what happened to class monitor? Why is his condition so complicated?" Yiqing Luo's expression changed slightly. She was silent for a moment. She narrowed her eyes and stared at Tong Ziqing for a long while. In the end, he decided not to hide it from Tong Ziqing. "In the training forest, you used your own blood to awaken Zhan's consciousness. He didn't want to hurt you, so he fought against the power that was forcing him to do so. As a result, he suffered a backlash and fell unconscious." Yiqing Luo summarized Long Yunzhan's situation in a concise and comprehensive manner. Tong Ziqing's eyes widened in shock. After a long while, she hurriedly pushed away the quilt and said, "I'm going to see him. Master Ghost Doctor and the headmaster are taking care of him. Take care of yourself first." Yiqing Luo hurriedly supported Tong Ziqing, who had almost fallen onto the ground, as she forcefully pressed her back onto the bed. "Don't think too much. Zhan's willpower is very strong. It's just a backlash and it hasn't hurt his consciousness or soul, so he will wake up very soon." But Tong Ziqing still wanted to say something. He was interrupted by Yiqing Luo again. "No buts, don't tell me you wish for Zhan to wake up to see you lying on the bed riddled with injuries because of him? No. Tong Ziqing immediately shook her head. The last time Long Yunzhan had hurt Yan Xiaoyi and was almost unable to walk out from his sins. Long Yunzhan knew that he had once again hurt her because of his manipulation. Long Yunzhan would definitely not be able to forgive himself, especially since this was the second time she had been injured because of him. Long Yunzhan will definitely collapse. In the end, Tong Ziqing obediently lay back on the bed. Ziqing, have more confidence in yourself. Zhan, it's not that he doesn't like you. It's just that he doesn't know what it means to like someone. Seeing Tong Ziqing's wholehearted concern for Long Yunzhan couldn't help but sigh. Yiqing Luo couldn't help but sigh. She didn't know how Long Yunzhan was able to have such a beautiful, considerate and kind girl adore him. Long Yunzhan didn't know how to cherish it. A human dragon was a human dragon. Although half of his blood was human. However, it was still a dragon. She could not understand the feelings of dragons. However, as long as someone was willing to teach him, given Long Yunzhan's intelligence, he would definitely learn it very quickly. Yiqing Luo smiled as she looked at Tong Ziqing, and couldn't help but rub her head. Work hard, teach him what is love. Tong Ziqing's throat was a little dry. How could Long Yunzhan not know what it meant to like someone? Long Yunzhan clearly understood. It was just that the person he loved wasn't her. Yiqing Luo had already stood up as she smiled. Have a good rest, I'll go over to Zhan's side to take a look at the situation. Once there's any good news, I'll come over to tell you immediately. Then she pointed to the room next door. It's right next door. Tong Ziqing opened her mouth, but before she could say anything, Yiqing Luo had already walked out of the room. She lowered her eyes and looked at her bandaged palm. There was a bitter expression on her face. After walking out of the room next door was extremely quiet. Yiqing Luo pushed the door open and entered. Only Mo Ying stood beside the bed in a daze, her eyes lifeless. Hearing the noise, she turned her head stiffly. Where's Master Ghost Doctor? Yiqing Luo inquired softly. Going to the pill refining room to discuss about class monitor's situation. Mo Ying replied in a flat tone. Yiqing Luo nodded her head as she took a look at Long Yunzhan, who was lying on the bed with his brows knitted tightly, as though he was in extreme pain. She suddenly thought of something as she said to Mo Ying, "Go and have a rest first, I'll keep watch here." Chapter 23:20. Mo Ying nodded in a daze. Oh. After that, like a puppet, she walked out stiffly step by step. The room door was shut. There was only one candle left in the room. The room was slightly dim. Yiqing Luo walked to the bedside and looked at Long Yunzhan's face carefully. She bent over and used her slender fingers to quickly check his face. Then she opened Long Yunzhan's eyes. There was no more profound yin qi. Yiqing Luo released her hand and straightened her body. Perhaps it was because of her touch earlier, it made Long Yunzhan feel a dull pain in his body. His brows creased even tighter. Yiqing Luo sat down by the bedside and frowned as she called Old Man Tsong out. Old Man Tsong's spiritual body circled a few rounds on top of Yiqing Luo's head and floated to the bedside. "Lass Luo, let me take a look at this lad." Old Man Tsong leaned close to Long Yunzhan and touched Long Yunzhan's tightly knitted brows with his fog-like hand. Yiqing Luo nodded. Zhan seems to be controlled by the profound yin qi again. But this is the class of gods. Even if the dark forces appeared in the class of gods, they might not be able to do it without anyone knowing, not to mention the dark forces which no longer have any power. Old Man Tsong's fog-like palm slowly touched Long Yunzhan's forehead. A ball of white fog enveloped Long Yunzhan's body. Yiqing Luo held her breath and didn't disturb him anymore. After some time, the white fog gradually dispersed. Old Man Tsong seemed to be startled as his spiritual body floated above the muslin curtain. "Old Man Tsong, what's the matter?" Yiqing Luo raised her head anxiously. Old Man Tsong's reaction made her heart rise to her throat. Old Man Tsong's spiritual body floated a few rounds and returned to Yiqing Luo's side. His expression was grave. "Lass Luo, this lad. What controls him is not the profound yin qi." Yiqing Luo was stunned. "Not the profound yin qi? Then what is it?" "I remember now. Didn't this kid get controlled by and in the tomb of the Ling King? That time, this old man felt a little strange." Old Man Tsong tightly knitted his fog-like white eyebrows. His voice was very heavy and solemn. "This old man will ask you a very serious question." Yi Qingluo's heart started to turn anxious. She took a deep breath and nodded. Go ahead. If I advise you to kill this kid, will you do it? Old man Song's gaze bore into Yi Qingluo. His tone was extremely serious. His expression was incomparably grave. Old man Song was not joking. He was really suggesting to kill Long Yunzhan. Yi Qingluo was frightened by old man Song's gaze. She was stunned for a moment before shaking her head without any hesitation. No, Zhou is my brother. I can't kill him. This old man is your elder. Old man Song was overbearing. Yi Qingluo's throat choked, her long eyelashes fluttered in panic. Old man Song. She furrowed her brows, her mind filled with confusion. If you want to kill him, at least give me a reason. Old man Song's face was expressionless, but his tone was extremely serious. This kid's body has been poisoned by someone. Poison? What does that mean? Yi Qingluo stood up in disbelief. Chapter 23-21. Yi Qingluo's breathing tightened. Zhang he? How could he possibly? Long Yunzhan was a human dragon. How could he have been poisoned without knowing it? Did he not feel anything at all from such a vicious goo poison? Furthermore, this venom has been in this kid's body for at least 10 years. Old man Song's next sentence made Yi Qingluo dumbstruck once again. More than 10 years. In other words, when Zhang was around 7 or 8 years old, this goo poison had already been implanted into his body? Zhang said that his memories before he came to the devil class were blank. Is it related to this goo poison? Yi Qingluo suppressed the astonishment in her heart, trying her best to maintain her composure as she asked. Old man Song slightly pondered for a moment. This old man has never deliberately researched goo poisons. As for whether or not it is related to goo poisons, this old man does not dare to confirm. Yi Qingluo's fingers unconsciously curled up. The only thing that this old man can be sure of is that the cultivation method of this kind of poison is very complicated, and this kind of poison can only be found in the upper realm. It can be said that this poison is definitely cultivated by the people of the upper realm with extraordinary strength and high status. The upper realm, extraordinary strength, extremely high status. These few words kept reverberating in Yi Qingluo's mind. Who could be so cruel? To actually implant such a vicious goo poison into a 7 or 8-year-old child's body. Since they were in the upper realm, their strength was so strong and their status was so high, why would they do such a thing to a 7 or 8-year-old child? Could it be related to the human dragon race? Yi Qingluo suddenly recalled that the human dragon race only existed in the upper realm. Long Yunzhan had lost his memories and did not know why he was in the Nirvana realm. But he must have come from the human dragon tribe. It was very likely that before Long Yunzhan left the human dragon clan, he had been poisoned by the human dragon, or some other profound practitioner. But what was the purpose of implanting the goo poison in Long Yunzhan? Right at this moment, old man Song's spirit body swiftly rushed into Yi Qingluo's wrist. In her mind, old man Song's voice sounded, "Little Luo, someone's coming. Be careful. If this brat wakes up, if his consciousness hasn't recovered, the only way is to kill him." No way. Yi Qingluo rejected without thinking. You can't kill Zhang. He's only poisoned by a parasite. Since it's a parasite, there must be a way to cure it. Old man Song didn't say anything else. He was actually very clear that Yi Qingluo would never give up on her own brothers. All he did was state the worst-case scenario, to let Yi Qingluo be mentally prepared first. The door was pushed open. The ghost doctor and the other 3 masters walked in. Jun Qinggu, Yan Shaoyi and the rest followed behind. On seeing Yi Qingluo, Yan Shaoyi hurriedly walked up and spoke softly. Qingluo, earlier ghost doctor and teacher Shen Qing checked on class monitor's body, and class monitor's profound jade heart extracted a sliver of profound yin qi. Yi Qingluo took a glance at ghost doctor. So the mystical yin qi had already been extracted. No wonder she did not feel any mystical yin qi on Qiao Jin's body. According to old man Song's conjecture, the reason Long Yunzhan lost control in the tomb of the Ling King was very likely because the goo poison flared up. This time, it was also because of the goo poison. Moreover, both times it was related to the mysterious yin qi. Chapter 23-22. Heh. A cold sneer was heard clearly in the quiet room. Everyone looked towards the direction of the voice. They saw Jun Qingwu, who was standing at the door walking towards Long Yunzhan. What are you laughing at? Yan Xiaoyi frowned as she stared at Jun Qingwu unhappily. If you're not here to visit class monitor, please leave. Jun Qingwu totally ignored Yan Xiaoyi. A pair of icy cold beautiful eyes stared at Long Yunzhan without blinking. Yan Xiaoyi, who was ignored, immediately revealed an angry look as she gritted her teeth and pointed at Jun Qingwu angrily. Hey! Student Jun Qingwu, what are you trying to? Don't limit his abnormality to the profound yin qi. Jun Qingwu's icy cold voice interrupted Yan Xiaoyi's words. Her words were obviously directed at Yiqing Luo. Yan Xiaoyi's words were stuck in her throat. His expression darkened a little. She was just about to speak when Qiao Jin had already pulled Yan Xiaoyi into his arms. Class monitor is still unconscious. If student Jun Qingwu has a way, it's a good thing. Yan Xiaoyi pursed her red lips as she breathed out heavily from her nose. Humph. Then she stuffed her little face into Qiao Jin's arms. This interlude was considered to be over. After Yiqing Luo heard Jun Qingwu's words, her pupils contracted as she looked over in astonishment. You mean? For him to become like this, are you sure that the profound yin qi has such a great ability? Jun Qingwu glanced at Yan Xiaoyi and the rest with a smile which didn't look like a smile. Yiqing Luo was stunned as she stared at Jun Qingwu for some time. A guess in her heart was slowly overlapping with the lady in front of her. Her heart suddenly thumped heavily. She looked towards Yan Xiaoyi and the other three masters. Before she could speak, the three masters had already found an excuse and left the room. Yan Xiaoyi looked at the three masters who left and looked at Long Yunzhan. An extremely dissatisfied expression surfaced on her pretty face. Why did she need to leave when they were discussing about class monitor? What could class monitor have to hide from her and Qiao Jin? Not waiting for Yan Xiaoyi to express her dissatisfaction, Qiao Jin had already gently held her shoulders. Let's go out and talk. Yan Xiaoyi snorted a few times, but still obediently followed Qiao Jin out of the room. The door closed, and after Qiao Jin half carried and half coaxed her away from Long Yunzhan's room, Yan Xiaoyi then angrily pushed Qiao Jin aside as her beautiful eyes stared wide open, her face filled with rage. Why did Qing Luo hide the truth from us about class monitor's matter, but let Jun Qingwu participate instead? Jun Qingwu is a student of the class of gods. We are Qing Luo's brothers, the class monitor's brothers. These words could be shouted out in anger at any time. But more than that, it was the sadness of being isolated by Yiqing Luo. Qiao Jin sighed softly. Every one of us have our own secrets, just like me, just like you. Class monitor also has his own secrets. Qing Luo is not willing to let us know. It's for our own good, not because she doesn't treat you as a brother. He walked over and stretched out his arms, slowly pulling her into his embrace. He whispered in her ear, I'm not willing to tell the other brothers that I'm the future patriarch of the Huangfu family. Am I also isolating them from the world? Yan Xiaoyi pouted and glared at him. I know, but I just don't feel good in my heart. Chapter 23:23. Yan Xiaoyi pursed her red lips as her head fell heavily into Qiao Jin's arms. I know. Qiao Jin's large palm was placed on the back of her head as he gently rubbed it. A light breeze blew past. The scene was like a scene from a painting. Not far away, a figure stood at the corner, quietly looking at the two people who were hugging each other. He stared blankly at the two of them. That handsome face surfaced a tinge of blankness. His usual laziness had now been replaced by blankness. Although he wasn't able to hear Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi's conversation clearly, but he could roughly understand what they were talking about. The young man was stunned for a moment. This was the Brotherhood of Devil Classes students? This was the reason why Devil Classes students were able to fight braver and stronger the more they fought? This was also the reason why Tong Ziqing wanted to stay in Devil Class, unwilling to part with those brothers in Devil Class? The young man slowly lowered his eyelids, concealing the desolation in his eyes. In the room there were only Ghost Doctor Jun Qingwu, Yiqing Luo and Long Yunzhan, who was lying on the bed. Yiqing Luo had no interest in beating around the bush. What you said earlier, what do you mean? Jun Qingwu's brows rose slightly as her red lips curled into an icy cold arc. As a human dragon, the profound yin qi from the dark forces doesn't have this kind of ability to control a human dragon. Jun Qingwu accurately stated Long Yunzhan's identity. Apparently, she had long known that Long Yunzhan was a human dragon. When Ghost Doctor heard the two words human dragon, he didn't reveal any astonishment at all. Yiqing Luo was expressing that she was the only one who thought that no one had discovered Zhan's identity, but actually, everyone already knew? I think so too. Ghost Doctor stood by the side. The profound yin qi is merely the fuse to agitate this young lad. Fuse? Yiqing Luo's delicate fists unconsciously curled up as she lowered her eyes to look at the unconscious Long Yunzhan, who was still frowning. Zhan suddenly went berserk in Class of God's actual combat training forest. Where did the profound yin qi come from? His body already has the Xian yin qi hidden in it. Just a little bit of primer would be enough to summon the Xian yin qi. Moreover, it would become the fuse that would awaken the poison in his body. Jun Qingwu said expressionlessly. This time round Yiqing Luo was completely stunned. Her enchanting eyes slowly lifted as she stared intently at Jun Qingwu. You are definitely not a student of the Class of Gods. Who are you? Jun Qingwu could tell that Long Yunzhan was a human dragon. He also saw the goo poison in Long Yunzhan's body. According to the content of Old Man Song's words, this kind of poison came from the upper realm and could only be cultivated by someone with great strength and status. However, Jun Qingwu could easily see through it. This wasn't something an ordinary student from the Class of Gods could do. Jun Qingwu's eyebrows rose as her cold eyes swept past Yiqing Luo as she gave a sarcastic smile. What identity do I have is more important than your brother lying on the bed? You're naturally not as important as Zhan. Hearing Jun Qingwu's words, she apparently had no intention to deny it. Yiqing Luo's heart sunk a little. I don't allow people with unknown origins to get close to my brother. Jun Qingwu's smile became even more sarcastic. Just based on you think you can stop me? This sentence had completely admitted all the guesses Yiqing Luo had towards her. Yiqing Luo's eyes were burning as she stared at Jun Qingwu for some time. I know you don't have any ill intentions towards me. Whether I do or not depends on your attitude. Jun Qingwu's smile was cold. Chapter 23-24. Yiqing Luo's eyes were clear as she gazed at Jun Qingwu. After some time she smiled. You're Zhou Xian's friend, so I naturally treat you as a friend. She really sensed enmity from Jun Qingwu. Since the moment she suspected Jun Qingwu's identity, she would no longer have any close contact with her. The main reason why she trusted Jun Qingwu was because of Zhou Xian. Because Zhou Xian had personally admitted that Jun Qingwu was his friend. And another reason. She could tell that Jun Qingwu was indeed using her own method to help her. I don't have time to waste with you on these meaningless questions. Jun Qingwu's icy cold voice was devoid of any emotions. A gaze as cool as water swept past Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo shivered as her smile became even more radiant. Of course, her smile was even more radiant. Jun Qingwu wasn't interested in it. Jun Qingwu asked coldly, do you want to save Long Yunzhan? Upon mentioning Long Yunzhan, Yiqing Luo's expression instantly turned cold. She pursed her lips tightly as her eyes shone with a resolute radiance. Yes. Do you trust me? Jun Qingwu met her eyes as she calmly asked these three words. Almost without hesitation Yiqing Luo smiled and nodded. I do. If you trust me then listen to me. Jun Qingwu didn't show any signs of astonishment, as though she had guessed that Yiqing Luo would choose to trust her. Yiqing Luo didn't hesitate. What do you need me to do? Leave the Class of Gods with me, let's go to Northern Continent. Jun Qingwu sounded as though she was asking, how's the weather today, as her tone was extremely calm. But the contents of her words made Yiqing Luo stunned. Northern Continent? Yiqing Luo didn't understand. Why are we going there for? You haven't heard of Northern Continent's Miaogu aristocratic family? Jun Qingwu's brows rose as she crossed her arms, using a, are you silly, expression as she swept Yiqing Luo from head to toe. Yiqing Luo shook her head in a daze as she answered honestly, no. Miaogu aristocratic family. Ghost Doctor, who had been silent and didn't participate in their conversation, muttered these four words. Yiqing Luo regained her senses as she looked at Ghost Doctor. Master, you've heard of Miaogu aristocratic family? The best among Gu, I have heard of the rumors of the Miaogu clan. The Ghost Doctor grunted lightly. Gu poisons and medical skills have some similarities. Back then, I wanted to borrow the method of cultivating Gu poisons to refine pills, so I came into contact with things like Gu poisons. The Ghost Doctor pondered for a moment as if she was reminiscing. The Gu worms cultivated by the Miaogu family, Even the people of the upper realm would tremble in fear upon hearing them. Holy shit. Even the upper realm was afraid of the Nirvana realm's poison. That Miaogu aristocratic clan was too shocking. She gulped down a mouthful of saliva and looked at Jun Qinggu. You mean to say that we should go to the Miaogu aristocratic family and look for the people there to cure Zhan? Oh. Jun Qinggu glanced at her with a faint smile. It's not to cure the goo but to suppress the outbreak of the goo. Only suppression? Yi Qingluo was shocked. Isn't it the Miaogu family? Don't tell me they can't cure the goo poison in Zhan's body? The Miaogu aristocratic family, de Gu Du, although their reputation in the upper realm has spread far and wide, but the goo poison in the lower realm is after all from the lower realm. The goo poison in Long Yunzhan's body can only be cured when we reach the upper realm and find the person who planted the goo. Jun Qinggu used a caring gaze as she looked at Yi Qingluo deeply. One word, are you going or not? Chapter 23-25. She knew all too well how terrible it felt to be manipulated. There was no consciousness, no feeling, no everything. His mind was completely blank. The only thing that remained was the order given by the person who controlled her. When he woke up, he was filled with vexation when he thought of the memory of not being able to control himself. It was good that no one was hurt. But if he was being controlled and hurt someone he didn't want to hurt, then he would definitely be killed. He was forced to do something he didn't want to do at all. After waking up, his emotions were unable to calm down. If one's willpower wasn't strong enough, they would probably collapse and go crazy. Stop dilly-dallying. If you go, I'll help you. If you don't, then don't waste my time. Jun Qingwu got impatient when she saw Yi Qingluo's silence. She was willing to help Yi Qingluo because she had received some benefits from Zhou Xian. If Yi Qingluo didn't want to accept this, then she couldn't be bothered to waste her time here. Go. Yi Qingluo raised her head, her eyes filled with determination. I'll go. Regardless of whether he could cure the goo poison in Long Yunzhan's body. Even if it was temporarily suppressed, it was still worth the trip. She could not let Long Yunzhan be devoured by goo worms again. If Long Yunzhan went berserk again, it was very likely that he would never be able to find himself again. How long do we need to go back and forth? Yi Qingluo seemed to have thought of something as she asked. If everything goes well, half a month. If it doesn't go smoothly, it will depend on your ability to ask the people of the Miaogu family to help Long Yunzhan suppress the goo poison. Jun Qinggu replied indifferently. Yi Qingluo was stunned. What if during this period of time, Zhan wakes up and continues to go berserk? Since I have interfered in this matter, I will take full responsibility. Jun Qingwu opened her palm and a blue jade appeared in her palm. The jade was about the size of half a palm, and it shone with a sea blue radiance. If this thing is placed in Long Yunzhan's profound heart jade, it can ensure that he remains in a comatose state for 3 months. Jun Qingwu placed the jade stone into Yi Qingluo's hands. For the next 3 months, you don't need to eat or drink. This thing will replenish all the energy that Long Yunzhan needs. 3 months. Was there enough time in 3 months? As for the Northern Wave continent, the Miaogu clan and so on. He was a stranger. He did not have much confidence that he would be able to invite the Miaogu aristocrat clan. If it was only 3 months, Yi Qingluo clenched her fist. His eyes were shining brightly. For Zhan's sake, he had to get it done within 3 months. Without further ado, that very night, Yi Qingluo told the Devil class's students that she would be heading towards the northern continent tomorrow. Yi Qingluo didn't explain in detail the reason why she headed to the northern continent, but simply told everyone that there was someone in the northern continent who could save Long Yunzhan. The youths were reluctant. But when he saw the class monitor lying on the bed, he was still worried. Naturally, he wouldn't stop Madame Qingluo from going to the northern continent to save class monitor. Ziqing, I've already spoken to the teachers. You'll stay in the class of gods and take care of Zhan for the next 3 months. Compared to the devil class's courtyard, the class of gods place is much safer. Yi Qingluo looked at Tong Ziqing solemnly. Tong Ziqing leaned against the headboard and moved her pale lips. I will. So recuperate obediently and get well soon so that you can take care of Zhan personally. Yi Qingluo softened her tone. After that, he gave a few more instructions to everyone. Chapter 23-26. Yan Shaoyi originally had a straight face. In the afternoon, Yi Qingluo was unwilling to let her know the class monitor's secret, and she was already very angry. Now she heard that Yiqing Luo was preparing to head to the northern continent with Jun Qingwu and had no intention to bring her along. Yan Shaoyi was even more furious. At this moment she heard that Yiqing Luo had a task for her. That straight face instantly revealed a bright smile. Qing Luo, just tell me what task you have. I will do my best. Yiqing Luo raised her lips and waved at Yan Shaoyi. Yan Shaoyi ran over in small steps and moved closer to Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo leaned close to Yan Shaoyi's ear and whispered, I will leave the remaining matters on the director to you and Jinzi to settle. She was planning to settle the matter between the director and Si Yenmu in the next few days. Even if she couldn't do it herself, she had to clear up the following matters. The director had to step down and Si Yenmu's true colors had to be revealed. This heavenly academy. She had no intention to let the dark forces and those with ulterior motives to harm it. Rather than destroying the heavenly academy, it would be better for him to make this academy his own. Yiqing Luo explained the plan in a concise manner. Yan Shaoyi got more excited as she listened, her eyes sparkling. By the time Yiqing Luo finished, Yan Shaoyi was already eager to try and patted her chest fiercely. Leave it to me. I will definitely settle it properly for you. The rest of the devil class students were dumbfounded. After saying goodbye, Yiqing Luo spoke a few more words with her brothers. After that she went to look for the three masters to discuss some matters. She was heading to the northern continent and her contracted beastman Li Cat had to stay by her side. Long Yunzhan was in a coma for 3 months. Tong Ziqing took care of him personally, which meant that there were 4 less students in the special training in the class of gods. This special training opportunity was hard to come by. Yiqing Luo never did a losing business. Naturally she had to grab another 4 people from the devil class to fill up their empty positions. The masters naturally had no objections. They had long been interested in the devil class. They also wanted to know if there were any other outstanding seedlings in the devil class other than the 11 of them. The matter was settled in this way. That night Yiqing Luo led Jun Qingwu and the 3 masters to apply for leave. The 3 teachers had never left the class of God easily. This was an expert from the upper realm. The dean's entire body was wrapped in white bandages, and he seemed to be severely injured. He struggled to get up from the sickbed to welcome them. Hearing that Yiqing Luo and Jun Qingwu wanted to take a leave of 3 months, the director was stunned for a moment, but when he met the smiling eyes of the 3 masters he relaxed easily. The 3 masters only said that they were interested in Yiqing Luo's ability. They hoped that Yiqing Luo and their class of gods Jun Qingwu would be able to complete the experience learning mission that they had set. As for the director, his mind was now focused on how to fight against Si Yenmu, and with the support of the 3 masters from the upper realm. The dean did not dare to suspect anything else. After exchanging some conventional greetings, Yiqing Luo and Jun Qingwu received the proof of leaving the academy for 3 months. The next day Yiqing Luo bade farewell to the devil class students and a few friends, leading Kitty Li and Jun Qingwu into the horse carriage. The devil class students looked at the slowly departing horse carriage, their hearts filled with reluctance. But thinking of what Yiqing Luo said before she left, they became firm in an instant.